Hi, I'm Paulette Grant with So Creative Lounge. Today, we are going to make the 3-zippered toiletries pouch. This is a sample of what we will be making. Let's move over to the cutting table so we can talk about what supplies you'll need to create the pouch. So first thing you'll need is your main fabric would be cut at 16 by 20. You'll also need, whether you need batting or fusible fleece, you can use either one, and that would measure 16 by 20. I've already fused mine. You need 3 zippers that are longer than 16 inches. I like to play with the colors of the zipper and make sure they're coordinating. So 3 zippers longer than 16 inches. You'll also need to cut 2 strips of your main fabric that will measure 2.5 inches wide by 16 inches long. You'll also need to cut 2 pieces of fusible fleece or batting that is 2.5 inches wide by 16. For your tabs, you need to cut 1 strip that is approximately 1.5 inches by 16 inches wide. And for your binding, which is optional, you need a strip that is 3 inches wide by 30 inches long. That's for your binding, and that's optional. You'll also need, for your pockets, you're going to have 3 pockets. So what you'll need to do is cut 3 lining fabric at 16 by 16. So it's a square. So you'll need 3 of them. One we will cut in 2, but I'll show you what we'll do with that when we get to it. Okay. Once you have all your supplies, we will then start to assemble the pouch. So the first thing you'll do to assemble your pouch is, of course, fuse the fleece or the batting, whichever one you choose to use. So here's the batting. Mine is already fused. And you'll need, for this part of the assembly of the pouch, you'll need your main with the fusible fleece, 1 of your 2 strips, which will be your gusset with the fleece fused to it. So you're going to have 2 of them. So anything that has the fusible fleece, if you're using fusible fleece, you should just go ahead and fuse them all. And you'll need 1 of your zippers. And you can choose whichever zipper you want. You'll need a zipper. You'll also need a pocket piece. So the items that you need to begin is your lining, which is the 16 by 16, your main fabric, which has the fleece fused to it, 1 gusset piece, and a zipper. To begin, what you need to do is take your zipper, open it out, place the zipper face down on, and it doesn't matter which edge you start. So face down with the raw edges even. And you will also take your pocket piece, whichever one you choose, it doesn't matter. And you're going to make a sandwich out of those 3 items. So you have lining, zipper face down, and the main fabric. You can either use pins or clips, whichever you choose, to hold them in place. And all edges need to be even. And we're going to go over to the sewing machine to start sewing. I've already put my zipper foot on, so you'll need a zipper foot for this to put enter or to complete this step. So add your zipper foot or put it on. Move it to the opposite side. So if you have a narrow zipper foot, you can use that, or if it's just a standard one, that's fine too. Just remember what side of the zipper you're working with. And it doesn't have to be all the way as close to the teeth as and I'm just going to give my machine a chance to start up. Not working, but okay, there we go. So let us right, let's go. That's our first zipper has been installed. First half. What you will do is turn everything to the lining to the inside, fold it over. It's recommended that you press, but in the sake of time, we're just going to I'm just going to turn it over, and now what we'll do is top stitch to hold that zipper in place. Let's go over to the cutting table so you can see what the next step is. So here is our first half of our zipper installed. And we have main, then you have the zipper, and you have your lining, which is your pocket, your first pocket. To complete the next step, you need the second, your first gusset. And just like you did with the other, you're going to place that face down on the zipper. So the right side of the zipper to the right side of your fabric, with your main fabric. And you're going to sandwich that. So you're going to create a sandwich. Let me turn this around, make it easier if you can see it this way. And now you're going to sandwich, you're going to create a pocket. So you're going to use your pocket as the back. You're repeating the process that you just did with the main fabric. Trying to make this so this looks a little easier. So the wrong side of the zipper goes on the top half of the lining, so the right side. Lay it flat, not behaving. So raw edges together. Maybe easier if we zipper it up. And then place the right side on top of that. And once again, you're going to pin or clip to hold it in place. With all thicknesses, so you're going to have 3 layers once again. So what you should have is your pocket and your zipper. And we're going to go over to the machine and we're going to stitch these 3 together. Make sure that the zipper head is out of the way. Stitch over. Thread. Yes. My machine has come unthreaded. So I'm going to rethread the machine. What you're going to do next is we have installed that zipper, as you can see. And after installing each zipper, you open it up and top stitch all 3 layers together. Let's go over to the cutting board so that we can see where we are and go on to our next step. So as you can see, we have, let's cut some of these strings off. First zipper, our gusset, and a pocket. Now we're going to install the second zipper and the second pocket. But before we do that, what we're going to do with the second pocket, remember it was 16 by 16. So what we will do is cut the middle pocket in half. So we're going to make it 16 by 8. And I'll explain why as we go along. Or you'll see that why we cut it in half. Remember the bag had the pouch has to turn, we have to turn it inside out. And we're going to need a way to turn that inside out once we put all the zippers in. So let's just split it in half. So now you have 2 pieces that are 16 by 8. Just like you did with the last piece. Take your zipper, face down. And you're going to sandwich 1/2 of your lining or the second pocket to the zipper. I'm going to switch out this zipper because it's too short. And once again, you're going to pin all of your pieces together. Okay, we can go over to the sewing machine, we're gonna add the second zipper. So the zipper head is out of your way. So you either open your zipper all the way down. And once again, you want to move the zipper head up so you don't stitch over it. Okay, so we're repeating the process of top stitching the next pocket. And then flip it under. And we're going to repeat the process with the second half of the pockets. Going over to the cutting table so that you can see what happens next. So you're going to have the second half of your lining. And the second gusset piece that was already fused. Right side down against the zipper tape, and pin or clip in place so that you can stitch them all together. Remember, all the raw edges need to be together. Okay, we're going back over to the sewing machine. Stitch these together. machine as decided. Do this. Okay, the second zipper has been installed. Once again, we are going to tops. And I'm going to go over to the cutting table so you can see the next step in installing the third zipper. So just like you have with the others, you install your zipper right side down on the gusset. You'll need your third pocket. And place that on top. So draw edges are together. Open out your pocket, place it on top. And pin in place. I'm going over to the machine to sew this in place. Now we are going to top stitch. So we turn it over. Again, it's recommended that you press this flat before you top stitch. And we're going to go over to the sewing table, the cutting table, to see the next step. Okay, so now we have our last pocket. So what we will do is we're going to make a sandwich out of the last pocket and the opposite side, or the last side of the bag. So what you need to do is open your zipper. And create your last. So as you see, I turned mine to the wrong side. So the right side is up, is facing, is up. Wrong side is on the table. Here's the last pocket. It may be easier to do it that way. Lay the raw edges of the zipper together. And the last pocket, you're going to fold it over. And again, all raw edges are together. And pin so that you can stitch it and install the last zipper. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the machine, stitch this up. It's like Murphy's Law. Now. So remember to always have at least 6 inches of thread in your needle, so you will avoid having this happen to you constantly. So one of the things you might find is that it will shift on you, so just stop. Just make sure that most your ends are fairly even. Insert your zipper or install your zipper. And just as we've done with all the others, open up your zipper. Let's go back to the, well, we're going to top stitch. So we're gonna top stitch our last zipper. And then we'll go back over to the cutting table. So I'm turning it inside out. And we're gonna top stitch this last zip. Let's go back over to the cutting table so you can see what we have. So here, it's taking shape. Maybe 3 zippers. Let's we'll cut all of these threads off. One whole zipper. And the middle, remember, is 2 halves. And your third zipper is a whole zipper. So you'll have pretty much 4 tubes. 1, 2, this will be 3, and the last pocket will make it 4. Before we continue, what we need to do is zipper. Make sure all of your zippers are working, especially if you're using those zippers on a roll. Please don't stitch, have the head of the zipper fall off before you've been able to put your tabs on. So this is what you should have. All right. Next step is to close up the ends of your pockets. So you want to open your zipper, especially the middle one, halfway down. Everything else can be all the way to the bottom, kind of inside out. Match up your edges. So each edge, you are just going to pin in place and stitch. Stitch your pouch together at 1/2 inch seam. So there's a 1/2 inch seam allowance built in. So that's the first one. Here's the second one. Let's right sides together. So what we're going to do that's different. So with the 2 pockets that you can see now that are the 2 orange pockets, you go into stitch at 1/2 inch, both sides. The black pocket, or the pocket that's in the middle, that you cut in half, you're going to stitch both sides. And on the bottom, you are going to stitch the side, both sides. So when you stitch, you're going to stitch like an L shape on both sides, leaving approximately 4 inches, a 4-inch opening so that we can turn the pouch. All right, we're gonna go back over to the sewing machine and sew up the sides. Get to change your zipper foot back to your regular sewing foot. Both orange pockets, 1/2 inch on the sides. Your center pocket. So 1/2 inch on the sides. Bottom, your 1/2 inch more. Pivot. Stitch all the way over to the mark. So with this first pin in, so you're going to stitch and stop. We need to leave a 4-inch opening at the bottom, so you will move over to the second marking or the second pin. To the side seam. Let's go over to the cutting board so you can see where we are. So what you have is your main fabric, the pocket, you have a second pocket with a hole, and your third pocket. What we're going to do next is find the center of the bag. So turn it inside out. So work with your zippers. And just by using the cutting board, you'll see that, just remember this, your bag, the length of your bag or the width of your bag is 16 inches. So this is your width. So we're gonna box the corners, but we don't want to cut your pockets. So just make sure the pockets are all in the center. To box your corners, we're just gonna cut off anywhere from 1.5 inches to 3 inches. So if you cut, the more you cut off is the higher the box will stand, your pouch will stand. This pouch that is cut at 1.5 inches, so you'll have a square of you're gonna cut out of 1.5 inches. If you want it deeper, it would just make it sit higher. So 3 inches would make it sit more like a box. So what I'm going to do using the squares on the cutting board. So 2 inches, I'm just gonna cut 2 inches here. Remember, do not cut your pockets. And go up to 2 inches. I'm going to repeat that on all 4 corners. Those of you who like to use rotary cutters, you can use rotary cutter to do this. But as you can see, scissors work just as well. Next thing we're going to do is I've already made the tabs, or the strip for the tab. So this was the 1.5 or 2 inch strip. Fold it in half in the middle. Like so. And fold it into itself. So you fold it in half, press it, then fold it into itself again, and then fold it. These strips, these tabs should be about 3 inches. So if you cut a strip of 3 inches, so you're gonna need 4 of them. You're gonna need 6 actually. And these tabs are placed right on top of your zipper. You're going to stitch these in place. These are optional. I'm actually not going to stitch these in place because I don't want to break another needle. But what you would do is, if you choose to put your tabs on, is each one, you would add one to each one of the tops and the bottoms of your zippers. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to turn the bag inside out. Making sure that we open our little zipper at least halfway. In fact, I will. Okay. I'll turn the pouch inside out. The pockets are underneath. And what we are going to do is stitch all the way across. So you want to pin in place. Now you got several thicknesses here, so you've got to be very gentle as you go to sew this, because you're going to be sewing over the zipper teeth. Process on both ends. Just remember to zipper your zipper, the head is underneath or near the middle of the pouch. Do not stitch that closed or close it up with by stitching the head up above where you're going to your seam line. And as you see, I'm pinning my zipper just to make sure that I touch it all. Pin that zipper. Don't be afraid to use the pins to hold the zipper in place. All right. Let's go over to the machine and sew this together. Remember, you have a 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you find that your bag is uneven, now would be the time to just even it up and just make it as even as you can. So over the zipper, go slowly. May even want to just hand crank over the zipper. Push your pockets away from one side, screw the other side. Go back over to the cutting board so you can see what we have. So now both edges are stitched up. If you choose to, you can cut off the bottom ends of your zipper, but they're gonna be enclosed in the bag. One of the optional pieces that you have is seam binding. This seam binding, which you would make just the same as you made for the tabs, which again is optional, is 3 by 30. So you press it in half, then press it into itself. And what you would use this for is to cover this seam, and you would just cover it over and stitch. Okay, again, it's optional. Our next step is to box off corners. So now we've cut out the squares, and now we're going to put them together. You're going to see that they're a little uneven because now we've created a 1/2-inch seam in the sides of the bag. So as best you can, pull them together. And pin in place. Repeat this on all 4 corners. Punch. Let's go back over to the machine and stitch a piece for corners. Multiple layers, so it goes very slowly so that your pocket. Okay, let's go back over to the cutting table so we can see where we are. So here we have our pouch. I have pocket, pocket, second pocket, and the third pocket. Remember, the pocket in the middle is the one with the hole. That is where we're going to turn our bag inside of it, our pouch inside it. Through the middle. So you can have to push out the sides, each of the corners. And the last thing we need to do is close up this hole. So go back to the machine, you're gonna turn under your 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then a stitch straight across. Close up the hole. Let's go back over to the cutting board. This bag is now complete. Those of you who had any kind of phobias with putting in zippers, this definitely will test you. So happy making. Thank you so much for completing this project. If you have any questions, you know how to reach us. So Creative Lounge, customer care at So Creative Lounge. If you have questions, I had fun. I hope you have fun making this pouch.